if you look at, because you talked about the fact that, you give an example of Kuwait, how they're providing for their citizens, but the constitution review or amendments, which we plan undertaking now, if you go by that document and we successfully, I use that advisedly, we successfully carry that out, don't you see some of the frayed nerves being assuaged?
Well, that's a very good direction to go, even though people have argued that you do not amend what originally have a defect. But I think it is better than not even doing anything at all. Now, the Constitution needs to take cognizance, in my opinion, the different identity groups in this country. Originally, you have to understand that there was no iota of consultation before the state called Nigeria was born. But we have to make do with what we have at the moment. And I think that the more we try to dialogue and discuss our differences, the better results we are going to get. I'll give you an example. Power have become a source of tension in Nigeria.
Political power
have become a source of tension. And because of our notion of the state, are still where people go to grab. And that's why you see a disconnect between what happens at the community level and what happens at the state level. Now, I think it is high time we begin to do what I can call pre-election power sharing.
How is that?
We sit down, we discuss power sharing amongst the different identity groups. If the tension is arising from religion, let us agree on how the two major religions, if you like, bringing even the traditional worship, should share power. If it is between gender, let's discuss with the women how we share power. If one person becomes president today, another person becomes vice president, the next one, it should be the other way around. All the different tensions that arise whenever we end election, let's discuss them before election.
What then becomes the role of the electorate there, who's supposed to ultimately decide what happens and not what some people come and foist on them?
Now let's assume the tension is arising from the 6 geopolitical zones, right? And then we say, this dispensation, the Southeast will produce the president. Do you know what is going to happen? Even the so-called political alignment along religion or ethnic line will start dropping. Because what happens is that all the political parties now go to the Southeast to support their various candidates for election. And this is what is happening not just in Nigeria but across the sub-region. Go to Sierra Leone. What they are battling now is a political party that is divided between the North and the South.
How does that address... Is this going to be on a permanent basis?
Permanent, constitutional.
So how does it address the fact that people are also advocating that we need to do away with all of this geopolitical zone matter so that the best candidate ever will emerge?
That's what I call idealism. That should be the ideal. The United States of America does that. Any best candidate should emerge. But we have tension in this country. That is obvious. And most of this tension is arising. Even the first speaker already alluded to 2015. People are already raising. In fact, some people have said one of the issues that will make this country better today is if good luck pronounced, I am not contesting. There is tension amongst the different identity groups in this country. And I think that one of the things that have happened to most third world countries, especially in Africa, is that we copied and pasted a democracy.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back after this. Please join us again. Channels Television wishes you a happy Eid al-Fitr. Welcome back. This one you're gonna.
The process of peacekeeping is a bit detailed, actually very detailed. And it is not without a price. What kind of price should we be looking at when it comes to peacekeeping in this country?
Well, more than peacekeeping, I'll be talking about peace building, because peacekeeping for me is already reactive.
Are you saying we're not at peace at the moment?
We are not. Oh. We are not at peace.
Really?
I don't think we are at peace.
That can affect government's FDI.
Well, if the government itself is not denying that we are not in conflict. We are in conflict. How violent it is and the level of violence attached to that is a different kettle of fish.
Can that be? Is there anything such as non-violent conflict or what?
Yes. Even our disagreement is conflict, but it's not violent.
Okay, so let's go to the prize.
I do not think. I always use this quotation that it's better we keep sweating in peace than bleeding in war. Therefore, what that means is that I do not feel there is any price too much to pay to ensure peaceful coexistence among the different identity groups, among the different cultural groups in this country. But what happens is that most times we are a bit reactive. So we do not have, let me tell you, Nigeria is supposed to have finished everything with its peace plan in this country. We still don't have a national peace plan, even though it has been developed, but consultations are still ongoing about how to have that. And this should have taken into cognizance of some of these issues that relates to what you can call peace-generating factors in this country.
What is collateral damage in all of this? Because when it comes to peace building, some of the things you factor in is collateral damage, the price now. In this,
collateral damage is a situation where, for example, you go to Niger Delta, people are doing bunkering, and you want to kill everybody who is doing bunkering, but you also have to think about people who are going to be affected by that kind of action. So what happens is that to avoid collateral damage, you weigh the action against the risks involved.
You know, for a moment, I thought Shara was giving Nollywood a movie idea. Collateral damage, the movie. But back to this matter. Back to this matter now. I was asking Senator Enang about the fact that what's the importance of us celebrating this amalgamation, 100 years amalgamation in 2014, because there are lots of articles, there are lots of arguments out there saying what they do or what they suggest the authorities or the government should do is independence. If you're celebrating independence or emancipation, it's a different kettle of fish. But amalgamation, especially at a time where people are questioning the unity of the country, or some actions which seem to be questioning the unity of the country, and so it raises the question as to how connected or how listening is the government to the people, because it consistently looks as though it's us and them. Is this going to help in any way to bridge this gap and maybe contribute to peace building?
Maybe what we need to do is to look or review the intention of the celebration of the amalgamation. First of all, are you celebrating what people have questioned? Who did the amalgamation? For what intent was the amalgamation done? Was it for the benefits of Nigerians as at that time? Or was it for political exigencies, especially as it relates to the British colonial masters, even though I don't like calling them masters these days? But if the intention is for us to sit down and review the amalgamation, then we can talk about celebration. We need to review the amalgamation. How did it happen? What is the best strategy to ensure that this amalgamation continues to sustain itself? Otherwise, people have alluded to the fact that Nigeria is going to break and all this is going to happen. Is that a period that you're going to celebrate the amalgamation? I think it should be a period of review of the process of the amalgamation and how we sustain the process.
You're based in Ghana, sorry, Shawa. You're based in Ghana. What exactly have you seen so far, knowing full well that once upon a time we had great nationalists in both countries, Nigeria and Ghana? And when we talk about peace building, what kind of example, if there is at all, that we can draw from Ghana?
I think that it might not be exactly correct to say that we had nationalists as much as Ghanaians did. Ghanaians started very early to cut across, both on the basis of the educational system and the kind of approach they had to the national unity. We had very strong individuals at sectional level. So, and Awolowo was not very ambiguous about his impression about the Southwest. And Ahmadu Bello was very clear about his impression about the North. So there were very few national leaders, even though they were national in character. In terms of their ideology, it was first my section before the national. But someone like Nkrumah, from day one, was difficult to know where he came from. So that's one. The second thing also is that what the National Youth Service was supposed to do is not achieving that aim. Because why? you have concentration of jobs in certain areas. And therefore, even when people go to the north to do their service, they are looking at 12 months. They are back to Lagos, they are back to Abuja, they are back to Port Harcourt. So you do not have as much integration as you have in Ghana, like you have in Nigeria. So that integration process has to start. But the only way to start it is for us to go back to those areas of less developed states and begin to ensure that we industrialize them.